good evening and welcome. Settle in as comfortably as you can. Let your shoulders soften and give yourself permission to rest for a while. I hope these next quiet minutes bring you a sense of calm, a little spaciousness, and that pleasant feeling of being somewhere safe, unhurried, and gently far away from the noise of the day. Tonight, you are invited into a winter park after dark, where the snow catches the light, and everything seems touched by a small, tender kind of magic. Breathe slowly. Let the words move at an easy pace and simply follow along. You are walking through a park at night, and the first thing you notice is how softly the world has been remade. Snow is falling in a patient, steady hush, and every path, bench, branch, railing, and stone has been covered in a pale, luminous layer that smooths the edges of things. The park is familiar in shape, perhaps, but changed in spirit. It is not empty so much as deeply at rest. The trees stand in long, graceful rows, their dark trunks rising out of low mounds of snow, their branches holding white upon white like folded silk. The air is cold enough to feel precise, clean enough to seem almost blue, and each breath you take arrives sharp at first in your nose and throat before leaving your lips in a small cloud of warmth. You move down the alley slowly, not because you are tired, and not because there is any need to hurry, but because the night itself asks for this pace. Your boots sink a little into the fresh snow and press out a soft, muffled crunch. The sound is gentler than it would be on a dry winter day. Tonight, the falling snow gathers even as you walk, catching and covering your tracks at the edges. It quiets every noise, laying its soft hand over the city somewhere beyond the park gates, until even distant traffic becomes no more than a memory of sound. The lamps along the alley are lit, each one standing in a small amber pool, and between them, the path drifts into silver dimness. The light does not seem harsh or practical here. It seems suspended, almost tender, spilling through the snowfall in beams that make every descending flake visible for a moment before it disappears into the white below. When you pass beneath a lamp, you enter a circle of floating brightness where the snow appears thick and endless, as if the sky has opened only above that one place. Then you move on, and once again the flakes become subtler, a faint shimmering in the dark. Your scarf is warm around your neck. The tip of your nose has grown cold, there is a light, pleasant sting in your cheeks. Your gloves have already collected a dusting of snow where you absent-mindedly brushed at a low branch a few minutes ago. The fabric of your coat holds the winter air on the outside, while your body keeps a calm, steady warmth within. And that contrast, the crisp cold around you, the quiet warmth you carry with you, makes the whole walk feel strangely complete. You are not resisting the season. You are moving through it easily, as though the snow and the night have made room for you. There is a certain clarity in your mood, an evenness that suits the straight line of the alley and the measured rhythm of your steps. Nothing presses on you. No thought needs solving. The mind, like the path, is open and pale and untroubled. You listen more than you think. You notice how the wind, if there is any, is too slight to be called wind at all. Just a faint movement that turns a cluster of flakes and nudges them sideways before they settle again into their downward drift. You notice how the trees hold still, how the benches wait under their blankets of snow, how the iron fence at the edge of the park wears a white cap on every bar, each one neatly outlined by lamplight. From time to time, you tilt your face upward. Snow lands on your forehead, on your eyelashes, on the bridge of your nose, and vanishes there into cool dampness. For a second, you keep your eyes open, watching the sky, though it is less a sky than a soft, moving veil. The clouds are low and full of light reflected up from the city and down from the snow-covered ground, so that the darkness above is not truly dark. It is pearly, diffused, luminous in a hidden way. Night has not disappeared. It has simply become gentler. As you continue, the park seems to widen around you. To one side, there is a pond, now frozen and almost invisible except for the rail around it, and the way the snow lies smoother there, uninterrupted by grass or roots beneath. At the edge of the ice, a few reeds remain, brittle and bowed, each one tipped with white. To the other side, the trees continue, their branches arching overhead until the alley becomes a corridor of dark lace and light. The snow on the branches brightens and dims as you pass from lamp to lamp, and every now and then one small load slips free and falls with a powdery sigh, landing without urgency on the ground below. Your breathing settles into the walk. Inhale the cold, fine air. Exhale a pale cloud that follows you for a moment and then dissolves. In the lamp glow, your breath is visible as something almost tangible. a little piece of your warmth entering the winter, joining it without being lost. You watch it happen once, then again, and there is something quietly reassuring in it. The night receives everything gently here: the snow, the light, the sound of your steps, the warmth of your breath. The farther you go, the more the silence reveals its layers. It is not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of a world wrapped carefully. Beneath it, you can hear the faint brushing sound of flakes touching your coat. You can hear the soft compression of snow under your boots. Once, from somewhere deep in the trees, there is the tiny tick of a branch releasing ice. Once, from beyond the park, a far bell strikes the hour, muted and rounded by distance, until it reaches you like a sound remembered in a dream. Then all is quiet again, and the quiet feels larger for having briefly made room for that note. You pass a row of benches half buried in white, each one transformed into a smooth shape with rounded corners. One bench lies directly beneath a lamp, and on its seat the snow glitters faintly, not brightly, but with a tucked away brightness like frost on glass. You think, though not in words, that snow is the only thing that can make a city park resemble a place outside of time. It covers the ordinary so completely that the ordinary becomes beautiful without effort. A path is no longer only a path. A bench is no longer only a bench. The lamps themselves seem older, wiser, as if they have been standing here for centuries, waiting for someone to pause beneath them and look up. You are in no hurry to reach any destination. The walk is its own destination. Every few steps offer something new to notice. The pattern of your footprints trailing behind you in the amber light, the way a low branch stoops under its burden and then springs back a little when the snow slides off, the soft outline of shrubs shaped into gentle domes, the fine crystals gathering along the seams of your gloves. When you rub your thumb against your fingertips, you feel the dry cold of the air and the faint dampness of melting flakes. Your ears, tucked beneath your hat, hear less from the outside and more from within the close sound of your own breathing, the subtle rustle of your coat as your arms move, the small certainty of your steps. Somewhere ahead, another lamp glows a little brighter than the others, and as you approach it, the alley seems to narrow and then open again into a clearing. The light falls cleanly there, uninterrupted by low branches, and the snowfall within that circle is unusually visible, each flake spinning and descending as if on display. You feel drawn toward it, not by curiosity exactly, but by the simple wish to stand still and watch. So you slow further and come to a stop beneath the lamp. At once, the experience of the snow changes. While walking, it was part of the whole night, one soft motion among many. Standing still, you can see it individually. Thousands upon thousands of flakes drift through the golden light, some straight, some wandering, some tumbling briefly before regaining their balance in the air. Near the top of the beam, they are small, almost like dust motes in a sunlit room. Lower down, they become larger, more distinct, each one crossing through the warm-colored glow before vanishing against the white ground. The contrast is mesmerizing. Above you, the dark. Around you, the amber light. Within it all, the endless silver movement of snow. You tilt your head back slightly and watch. For a few moments, perhaps longer, time loosens. You no longer measure it. There is only the lamp, the steady fall, the coolness on your face, the slow rising and fading of your breath. Snow gathers on your shoulders and the top of your hat. A few flakes catch in your eyelashes and make the world blur softly until you blink them away. The light hums so faintly you can almost imagine it rather than hear it. And even that tiny hum seems part of the piece, like the note a star might make if stars could be heard. Here, the park feels enchanted in the mildest, kindest sense of the word. Nothing startling, nothing dramatic. Only that the light appears more golden than usual, the snow more luminous, the trees more attentive. The branches around the clearing stand like quiet witnesses. Their upper limbs fade into the dimness, but the lower ones hold bright crescents of snow, each edge outlined against the night. The ground reflects the lamp upward, so that even the undersides of the branches have a pale glow. It is as though the earth itself has become a source of light. You extend one gloved hand into the air. Flakes land on the dark fabric, a pattern too delicate to study for more than a second before it softens and disappears. Still you do it again and again, because there is a simple pleasure in receiving something so small and so brief. You imagine the cold shape of each flake forming high above, hidden in cloud, then beginning its quiet descent to this exact place, to your waiting hand, to the shoulder of your coat, to the untouched drift beside the path. falls with urgency. Nothing arrives late. The whole park seems to move by another measure, one that has nothing to do with clocks. The cold deepens very slightly while you stand there, enough that you become more aware of your body. Your toes feel snug and firm inside your boots. Your fingertips are warm, though the air finds the space around your wrists and reminds you of itself. The tip of your nose is chilled. Your cheeks hold that bright winter numbness that is almost refreshing. You inhale slowly, and the air tastes clean, faintly mineral, with the scent of snow that is hardly a scent at all, more a sensation of freshness than anything you could name. On the exhale, your breath blooms white and drifts sideways through the lamp beam, becoming for an instant one more piece of weather. You listen to how the snow changes sound by taking it away. The city is out there, of course. Streets, windows, late buses, distant voices, all the usual life continuing beyond the gates. But here the snow has softened every edge of it. It has padded the park paths, draped itself over the bushes, settled on the fence, layered the pond, and in doing so it has quieted the world until each small noise is distinct and gentle. When you shift your weight, the snow beneath your boots answers with a compressed, velvety crunch. When a larger flake lands on your sleeve, it makes no sound at all. Yet somehow you feel the contact. When your coat moves, there is the faintest whisper of fabric. Silence is not the absence of life here. It is the space in which the smallest things can be heard. You stand beneath the lamp until you feel as though the falling flakes have rearranged your thoughts into something simple and smooth. Not emptied, just settled. Like the benches under snow, like the pond under ice, like the branches holding their white weight without complaint. Your mind no longer reaches outward. It rests where you are. Eventually, naturally, you begin walking again. Leaving the lamp's circle feels like stepping out of a room, though no walls ever held you. The light remains behind, a glowing island in the snow, while ahead the alley continues in alternating bands of shadow and gold. You turn slightly, following a curve in the path you had not noticed before. Here the trees grow closer together, and the darkness between them is softer, deeper, touched now, and then by reflected light from the snow below. You can see where rabbits, or perhaps small birds, have crossed earlier, leaving neat, uncertain marks that are already half filled by the fresh fall. Their paths crisscross yours and vanish under new whiteness, reminders that even in this stillness the park is quietly inhabited. As you walk, the snowflakes become finer for a while, more like grains than feathers, and the air feels even colder. You draw your scarf a little higher over your chin, and your next breath warms the wool before slipping out through it in a pale mist. The sensation is comforting. The coolness on your face, the warmer air returning to you, the fabric soft against your skin. The body knows what to do in winter. It gathers itself, conserves warmth, finds pleasure in small protections. Your hands stay in your pockets for several minutes, and the rhythm of your steps grows a little slower, a little deeper, making a more rounded sound in the thickening snow. There is an old fountain in this part of the park, dry for the season. In summer, it would be all stone and water and voices nearby. But tonight, it rises from the snow like a quiet monument. The basin is filled level with white. The central column wears a broad cap of snow from which smaller ridges droop over carved edges, turning the whole shape into something softened and almost unreal. The lamp nearest to it casts a tilted light across one side, so that the fountain looks carved from moonlit sugar. You pause only briefly, enough to notice how the snow has gentled even this formal stone into something dreamlike. And then you continue. The path bends again, and for a few moments you see the park from a slightly higher stretch of ground. From here, the lamps appear in a line, each one haloed by snow, each one reflected upward by the ground, so that the alley seems to float between two kinds of light. The dark trunks of the trees stand like brush strokes between those glows. The effect is so balanced, so hushed, that it feels nearly ceremonial, as if the park were not simply existing, but keeping some old winter custom to hold silence, to gather light, to receive the snow with perfect patience. You walk into that stillness as though entering music too quiet to hear, and yet somehow present. Your steps become part of it. The soft crunch, the pause, the soft crunch again. Your breathing joins it. The rise of your shoulders under the coat, the small plume before your face, the easy settling on the exhale. Even your gaze joins it, moving calmly from path to branches, to light to snow, and back again, never lingering with effort, never pulled sharply by anything. If serenity had a landscape, perhaps it would look like this: a winter alley at night, untouched except for a single line of footprints steadily continuing through it. There is comfort in being the only visible person here. Not loneliness, only spaciousness. The park is with you. The lamps are with you. The trees, the benches, the pond under its pale cover, the faint railing along the curves of the path, all of them are companions of a quiet kind. They ask nothing. They simply remain, and in remaining, they make the night feel secure. Each object is softened by snow and made kind. Even the shadows are mild. You reach another lamp and stop for just a moment, not as long as before, but enough to notice the new pattern of snowfall. The flakes are larger again now, broad and leisurely, descending almost straight down. In the light, they look like tiny slips of paper, then like bits of wool, then like stars made soft. They collect along the edge of your sleeves. One settles on the back of your glove and reveals, for a heartbeat, an intricate geometry before melting into a darkened speck. You smile, though only a little, because the night does not ask for more than that. A quiet smile belongs here better than laughter, just as the lamp belongs better than a floodlight, just as the hush belongs better than conversation. When you resume walking, you become aware of the scent of the trees. It is faint beneath the cold, a clean resinous note rising from bark and needles, where a few evergreens stand among the bare-limbed branches. The smell is subtle, but it gives the air texture. Winter is never only absence of heat. It has its own presence, sharp and pure. You breathe in and feel your chest fill with something that seems almost medicinal in its freshness. The mind clears further. The body loosens even as it stays gathered against the cold. There is no contradiction in that. The winter night makes room for both alertness and rest. At the far end of the alley, a gate is visible through the falling snow, though still distant. Beyond it, faint and blurred, lies the suggestion of a street lamp, perhaps the glow of a window, the ordinary world waiting where you left it. But you are not there yet, and there is no reason to think ahead. Instead, you let your attention rest on what is nearest. The fine line of snow gathering along the top of the fence, the small dune formed where the wind has nudged powder against the base of a tree, the way your footprints now stretch behind you in a gently wavering row. Some are already softened at the edges. Soon the night will smooth them over. There is something peaceful in that too. To pass through, to leave a mark for a while, and to know the snow will tend to it carefully until it disappears. You turn away from the gate and choose a side path you had almost missed, narrower and more secluded than the main alley. Here the lamps are fewer, farther apart, and between them the dark is velvety and close. The snow beneath your feet is deeper where fewer people have walked. Your steps sink more fully, producing a softer, fuller crunch. A low hedge borders one side of the path, its shape rounded into white waves. On the other side, the park opens onto a broad lawn, now transformed into an unbroken field of pale light. No footprints cross it. It lies untouched under the snowfall, smooth as a sheet spread carefully over sleeping ground. The sight slows you again. There is something sacred in unmarked snow, not in a solemn way, but in a way that invites gentleness. You do not feel forbidden from entering it. You simply feel content to let it remain whole. The lawn reflects the dim sky so evenly that the horizon between earth and air grows softer. In the distance, the tree line rises like a darker shore above a frozen sea. The park, the snow, the night sky, and the falling flakes seem woven together into one fabric, each thread visible only because of the others. You walk on, and the cold has now become familiar enough that it no longer feels like something outside you. It is part of the experience, shaping every sensation. The skin of your face is awake with it. The inside of your coat is all the more comfortable because of it. The warmth of your breath against the scarf, the depth of your pockets, the steady work of your legs beneath the heavy quiet, each of these small physical realities feels grounding, almost soothing. The body loves rhythm, and winter walking provides it. Step, breath, crunch, cloud, step, breath, crunch, cloud. After a while, the side path leads you back toward the center of the park, where several alleys meet around a circular space planted with trees. Here the lamps create overlapping pools of gold, and the snow in their crossing beams seems brighter, almost opalescent. The trunks rise out of the whiteness like columns. Above, the branches knit together in black tracery touched with silver. You stop once more, not out of any need, but because this place seems made for stopping. In the center of the circle stands a single iron lamp, older than the others, with glass panes lightly frosted at the corners. Snow has gathered on its cap, and along along the decorative curves beneath it. The light inside is a warm, honeyed color, and around it, the flakes descend in such abundance that they appear like a curtain. You step closer until you are standing just at the edge of that glowing veil. The air there feels brighter, though no warmer. Your shadow falls soft and blue-gray on the snow, and then dissolves under the next wave of flakes. You look up, and again the quiet magic returns, not stronger than before, only deeper for being familiar. The snow does not surprise you now. It accompanies you. The park no longer feels merely beautiful, it feels intimate, as though it has let you in on a secret that was never hidden, only too soft to notice in busier hours. The secret is simple. Light on snow changes everything. It lifts the ground into radiance, turns darkness gentle, slows the eye, quiets the ear, and makes each breath visible. It reveals how little is needed to transform an ordinary walk into something almost dreamlike. You remain there long enough to feel the night settling kindly around you like another layer over your coat, another soft weight over the trees, another hush over the paths. There is no loneliness in the stillness, no suspense, no edge, only the immense mildness of snow continuing to fall. The park seems to breathe with you. Inhale the world sharp and cold and clear. Exhale a fading cloud. Inhale the lamp's glow and the silver drift. Exhale warmth returning to the air. At last you begin the walk back. The way is easy to follow, though your earlier footprints are already blurred. The lamps guide you. Their amber circles arrive one after another, patient and unchanging. The park seems even quieter now, as if the snowfall has thickened just enough to deepen every silence. Your steps have become more careful, less from caution than from reluctance to disturb the soft perfection around you. You place each foot gently. The crunch is there, but subdued, as if the snow accepts your passing and then closes itself tenderly behind you. The benches are where you left them, the pond still a pale level shape in the dark, the fence delicately lined with white. Yet everything looks slightly different on the return, because you have become calmer than when you entered. The same lamp near the pond now seems warmer. The same branches seem more intricate. The same alley seems longer, but in a soothing way, like a sentence you are happy not to finish too quickly. Snow continues to gather on your shoulders. Once you brush it away, once you leave it there, You pass again beneath the lamp where you first stopped. The clearing is unchanged, the flakes still revolving through the beam in endless descent. For a moment, you consider standing there once more, and then you realize you are already carrying that stillness with you. The need to pause has become less urgent because the quiet has settled inward. So you keep walking, and the lamp recedes behind you with no sense of loss. Near the gate, the sounds of the outer world begin to return, very softly at first. A distant car passing over wet streets. The faintest rumble somewhere beyond the buildings. Perhaps a door closing far away. The snow has not stopped those sounds entirely. It has simply placed them farther off, as though out of respect for the park. You hear them, and they do not trouble the calm. They only remind you that this sheltered white silence exists within the larger life of the night, not apart from it. You slow at the final stretch of the alley and look back once more. Behind you, the park extends in gold and silver, in trunks and branches, in curves of path and untouched drifts, all of it receiving the endless soft fall. The lamps stand like patient guardians. The snow makes the ground luminous. The sky hangs low and pearly above it all. Your footprints form a quiet line that soon will fade, but the feeling of the walk will remain. The cold on your face, the warmth inside your coat, the visible breath, the muffled crunch beneath your boots. The way the snowfall took hold of every sound and gentled it. The way the light turned ordinary flakes into something almost celestial. You take one more breath of the clean night air, filling your lungs slowly, and release it in a final white cloud. It drifts upward through the light, mingles with the falling snow, and disappears. Then, with that same steady calm you have carried all along, you turn toward the gate and continue on, leaving the park to its hush, its glow, and its quiet winter magic, knowing that somewhere inside you the alley remains, still, luminous, and softly snowing.